Watch this space. Pat Carrigan has lifted the lid on Kevy Walters' post-match spray following their embarrassing loss to the Eels. Carrigan is backing his head coach and amidst criticism from club legends has hurt the playing group.
Nah, he's good. He's fair and honest. It was warranted. I think, not only as players, but as fans, we've all been disappointed in the performances that the club's put up the last couple of weeks. And he's a passionate guy. He's had a lot of success at the club, and I think it was warranted. And he's steering the ship for us, and we all want to get better every day, and we're all following him. So yeah, I think it was fair and warranted. They're great to the club, so it stings you a bit when they have comments like that, but I also know that they come from the right place if you scrap it back. And Stevie and Gordy have been good around the place and want nothing for us but to be a successful group. So I know if the boys have heard those sort of comments, then they'll definitely fire them up.
Yes, a couple of Broncos greats, Slam players upset over Kevy Walters' spray after the game on the weekend. I think they've, rightly so, I don't understand. They were ordinary. They have been for a long period of time. Kevy sprays them. He's obviously upset. He's emotional. We know that. But what happened here? Well, how many players? What players? What were they upset about?
Well, apparently it was in the lead-up to the 50-point flogging from the Eels on Thursday night, and Kevy had given it to the players at training, called them soft and said that their defence clearly needed to sharpen up. And off the back of them being beaten by Parramatta, it began to leak out that a couple of the players, and we're only talking about two, were unhappy about how direct Kev had been. But I'm with the retired champion players from the club.
The best thing Kevy does is identify them and move them on.
Kenny, they've been beaten 110 points in 2 weeks, right?
Yeah.
So they deserve to spray. What I will say, though, I think sprays are getting a little bit old-fashioned with coaches, and you saw Michael Maguire and his sprays and
I don't
doing them
agree
every...
with that, Buzz.
Well,
Come on, they're adults.
You're telling me he didn't lose the sheds at South over his blow-ups after games?
I
Before
don't.
he went to West Tigers?
Because of that? Because of the spray? I don't think so.
Kevy wouldn't have dished out that many sprays this season. It's only been the last couple of weeks.
He's not a Michael Maguire. Kevy would be a spray once every couple of months at best, not even. Yeah. And that's not to say it still doesn't work.
Supposed to do. Go in and buy them, cook them a hot chocolate.
I just said they got beaten by 110 points, and I can see why he blew up. But I don't see what you get out of it these days with young
because it's an emotional game. He's trying to trigger an emotional response from.
Is it going to make him play better next week?
I hope so. Look, in the old days, with some coaches, definitely. And some players, they've got a little bit of tick of the heart, would have made them feel better because they'd be embarrassed about their efforts.
Yeah, I just saw Madge in that room.
I cannot understand how blokes sit there and after conceding 110 points in 2 weeks, they sit there and the sum of what they're at right now, where they're at right now, is they're upset at the coach for giving them a serve over it.
Yeah, that's a G up.
Like, seriously.
That's a G
I get
like,
you.
they're supposed to be grown men, professional athletes earning six-figure sums.
Imagine if it was a Craig Bellamy coach team, a Robbo coach team, Wayne Bennett.
Do you see them go off like that?
Belly goes off like that in the coach's box.
If he had 110 points put on him, do you really think that he's just going to go in and go, I'm going to go,
he never does.
Belly's done that.
Boys, haven't you seen him in the box?
Come on.
I don't think it's going to rev him up to play any better.
What's happened to them? All right, they're looking at top four.
Mate.
They were flying. Big raps from even a lot of the penalties
Like the
here.
old cowboy movie, the
and they've
stagecoach just goes off the cliff.
What's happened?
I reckon they hit an energy high halfway through the year and they just began redlining. They won 7 in a row. And at some point, they needed to be backed off. They needed to take a breather, and they needed to get their energy right for the rest of the thing. And instead, they kept redlining. And I don't think they can be saved.
Sound like a job.
I think they've struggled out of Origin. You look at Katoni Staggs, he's flatlined. You look at Pat Carrigan, he hasn't been there. Kurt Capewell.
He was a big loss, Carrigan.
Huge. But you look at all of their players out of the Origin series. Even Selwyn Cobbo was badly concussed, had to miss a few weeks. Needed
so
a
who's
week
responsible
off
for it?
last week.
The players.
Well, they got beat too by the West Tigers 5 weeks ago, 32-18. West Tigers.
It depends what tactical periodisation they're doing there at the moment. So.
But you were giving it to South earlier in the year.
Their training blocks, they've obviously gone too hard through the middle of the season.
A few panellists we given it to South.
A few panellists, not me now.
There was a couple about not retaining Reynolds and that it was the worst decision they'd made and that Reynolds was the buy of the year. Is that still how you think?
I don't think Adam Reynolds is the buy of the year in light of what's happened over the last
Is he
month.
worth the money,
my
mate?
buy of the year would be Nico Hines or Chad Townsend as chief playmakers have lifted their side.
but we don't
I
care.
don't
I would
think-
still
Well, you
argue,
asked me a
Brad, I would
question.
still argue that South should have kept Adam Reynolds, right? Just because they've had 2 poor performances. You look at what he's been able to do for
But he
that
wanted
club over the course of the
was it a
season.
3-year deal he wanted?
I think he would have
Yeah, he
copped
wanted
2.
3 years.
He would have copped 2. I was
Yeah.
hearing 3, for big money. So you think
Well,
it's the right
irrelevant.
decision? I'm
That's
just
irrelevant.
what's
He's had,
irrelevant?
he's had a good year. Brisbane,
He's had a good
Adam
year. I
Reynolds.
just there was a lot of panellists saying that they should
Well,
have
hold
kept.
on. Well, can
I
we?
don't know who those
You
idiots
know
are.
when it's fair to judge this
Yeah.
when South get knocked out, and whether how far they go in the
Or
finals.
if they get knocked out.
Yeah.
But, I know. Watch this space, Buzz.
Right?
Yeah,
You just want to hear this.
He's
we'll
won
keep,
some
we'll
big
keep an
games.
eye on
I
that
just
now.
don't know where that came from, but anyway.
Well, it's right here because
right, okay.
it's
I
right
haven't
here
read my sheet.
because,
It's on your rundown.
because it was said early on
It
in the
says,
year.
ask Buzz about...
And South's got the hiding over it. I'm just reminding a few people that they did.